game, 20-second meta, all this stuff, Winstrike kind of have that written all over them.
All right, let's see which map we're going to be playing on here. We're all kind of putting Winstrike up there, their performance and all. And I want to see what Gamma needs to do to deal with them. Oregon is our map as Winstrike will take club away, and as our lobby is almost ready. James, what does Gamma need to do to prove things right against Winstrike today?
Well, what I'm expecting Gamma will have done is voted the absolute crap out of Winstrike, because Gamma have never played Oregon before. They banned it every CL Playday so far, whereas Winstrike play it all the time in CL and in the Russian Major League. So Gamma just come in with counter strats, bang it head on, and keep your composure even if things don't go to plan.
Yeah, I mean, out of the 10 games that they played in Russian Major League so far, Winstrike have played this map on 8 of them and have only lost it twice. So Winstrike really like this map. Also, when we go back to the last time they played it here in Challenger League, they had some really interesting operator bans as well. They banned Sledge, which you don't see very often. And so they still have this opportunity to kind of throw a spanner in the works and make some unexpected moves, I think. And that's going to be a tall task, I think, for Gamma to deal with.
And any highlight players that we need to look at from Gamma's point of view, Dev?
I actually am interested in Panix. Now, he's not a frontline player, but he is a player with quite a serious history, of course, playing for all kinds of Pro League teams and EUL teams over his tenure in competitive Rainbow Six, of course, most recently Na'Vi. And he's a player that has actually struggled. So I want to highlight a player that has historically struggled, because I think that if Panix can hold his own plus do his support job, then Gamma are definitely going to be in a strong position, particularly because they're going up against Winstrike with a lot of firepower. I think Panix just needs to kind of rebuild that confidence, and I really want to see him back in form, because he's such a talented player that's been around for such a long time, and you want to see him succeed.
All right, Geodev, thanks so much for your introduction. Gamma versus Winstrike. It's going up next. Benelux versus Russia. And what better for us to just give you a British caster and a Dutch caster for this one. Very unbiased commentary, as we'll see. See you guys in a moment in-game.
Not sure what the British part has to do with this matchup, but welcome, Flute, first of all. And I have to say, we haven't, we have hyped up our teams. We have hyped up the UK Massive and the Benelux, but I think it,
in a way,
it did it justice.
I mean, the thing is, all right, let's be honest. First of all, Dev, it's probably best that we don't speak about how Australian teams are doing right now. I understand, but also, if Geo really wants to leave the UK Massive so much and join Russia, you can have her. Let's get into this, though, Russia. This is your application to see if you can take her off our hands. Winstrike versus Gamma. Okay, joking biases aside, this is two very good teams. Now, obviously, the Russian team are doing quite well at the minute, and Russian teams across the board are doing quite well. We've seen a little bit of a resurgence inside Tier 1 for the hopes and dreams of Empire, as well as Virtus Pro, and obviously what trickles down in the Russian machine often trickles across all of them. So you expect Winstrike to carry a bit of that heated momentum with them.
Game chat just turned into a massive love letter for Larry, as everybody seems to be declaring love to him and only wishing him to have fun for this matchup, meaning that the other 9 players will be competing for his hand in this matchup. But first, the bans come through, and Thatcher, of course, will be coming through. Capitown to follow it up, meaning that all 4 heart breaches will be available. However, no Thatcher, meaning that the Kali might see some play. And as the first defensive ban will come through, often a Kaid will be following after a Thatcher ban.
Now, obviously, as we've said and seen, this is a map that we, well, haven't really seen from the hands of Gamma. A bit of a surprise force, and you're hoping it's a bit of a tour for them to be able to bring this one together. Obviously, Winstrike, it's more of a common practice and practicality, but the history of Russian teams in that region is what they do it so well, and they can do it whenever they need to do it. It's not just a matter of knowing what they're doing, but somehow trying to stop it, which becomes a really tough obstacle for some of these teams when they're so consistent in delivering upon their strats, their setup, and how they can make things happen. But Winstrike, it's up to you to try to prove that proof, because, well, you're starting on the attacks here.
Starting on the attack, and as Gio said, they played it 8 times, they only lost it twice, so that means that their attacks must be something special as well on this map, because out of those 8 times, you're not going to be starting out on your attack on your defense every single time again. So you need to be able to make the difference on that defense, but even so on the attack. And that is where they start out. We see the Maverick, we see the Ace, and let's see how quickly they will be with opening up these walls, with opening up the defense that Gamma will set up. As seeing a pretty diverse lineup coming through from Winstrike.
And obviously, with Clash on the board, she can get some pretty decent play underneath. You're looking at that doubled up by Panics with those Goyo shields, a heck of a heft. They're probably going to deploy around blue. The Clash can be a little bit of a mobility bonus, so you have the option to swing your way back round to the other sides of the site if you worry about a freezer push. But usually, you're setting yourself up with, well, this. Solid hold down elbow, a big rotation towards pillar 2, put the Clash there so she can give you the beat and the read. Sometimes you can play a hyper aggro against the door of the blue entrance too, so you can get in and against them. Have your kind of gunners swing from behind you, as we can see Leonski setting himself up to be in that position just now, and it gets you some immediate response, and it gets them nowhere into the building.
And that's it. And keep in mind as well, there's 3 ADSs deployed towards the elbow sides. There's definitely a lot of certainty from Gamma that the push will be coming from elbow, will be coming from blue. Leonski will be covering off 2 of those ADSs with the shield, meaning that all flashbangs being tossed in and bounced off a shield will not be caught off by the ADSs, and thus will be safe for potential grenades, breaching rounds, or impacts, which is, of course, what you want them to catch, because that is what is a threat to your shield that is on that corner, and is thus a threat to elbow.
Burning their way steadily through and wasting no time with the pace they want to apply here. This becomes a very vital hatch in the push because you need to be able to cut off the rotation and momentum. So, if they're forced to one way or another, you can't quite have that adept bit, that little passageway of safety around pillar, around that kind of side towards blue becomes undeniably dangerous. And now it allows the Winstrike guns on the door to do things like that. Takes the first, puts the pressure on, and if they push them backwards now, there's not really many places that they can fall to. Burns some ADSs so they can try and hit them with the hammer that is their utility and ability as Ashe, but 3 of them are desperately trying to find the first push here against Leonski.
Misplay from Leon there as he stepped back maybe to give Deepak an opportunity to fire, but in that result he did get taken down. More ADSs will be popped now as utility will be shot in. There's a 4-man stack coming up on this site right here. The S-Charge will be deployed soon. As there we have it. Panics will be able to find a response. A C4 will be blown up. A grenade gets tossed in right behind Leonski. A team kill from Panic somehow will be picked up by the grenade right afterwards. A really big misplay coming through right here from Gamma. Leaves it all up to Astra in a 1v3 situation now to try and clutch it out. He's going to be able to survive the first bit of bullets, but not the second one as they're already deep inside of blue. 2 big key misplays coming through here. First, Leonski stepping back, allowing Deepak to be shot. And the second one is Panics to take out Leonski with a headshot and instantly being picked up by the grenade right after. That is how they lost this game. They basically gave away 3 kills themselves.
Yeah, if anything, it can kind of be pointed towards the misplays of the Clash, obviously stepping back at the worst time to allow a death to happen, and then stepping forward into the active gunfight. Okay, didn't really have a choice. A grenade had been thrown behind you, well played from Winstrike, but at the same time, a little bit of communication could go a long way. They're not going to try it again. They're going to head up to dorms, swap her out, bring a Valkyrie, and have something a little bit more mobile, because, yeah, sure, it stoppered what Winstrike wanted to take, but at the same time, as soon as they started to apply just a little bit of pressure with utility and guns, well, mistakes happen from Gamma, and mistakes lead to losses. I think they're sadly a little bit too aware of. Dorms is where they're going to set themselves up on the second story and see if they can lock it down, otherwise no real change coming out from Winstrike. Or set up in a roster that can probably pull itself together on a lot of locations. Obviously, Nomad, well, Smash might find a little bit more use here. There was no roam at all on the previous site and the previous hold, and I'm curious to see if we see that develop from Gamma.
No, it isn't a Gamma day if we do not have a good old throw in there, because that is what they're known for in the Benelux. They always manage to mess things up from an EUL spot to just the first round here against Winstrike. And you might say, how much does it matter considering they already are secured for the playoffs? Well, let me tell you. if you're the number 1 seed, you will not be meeting the number 1 seed of the opposing group until the finals, which means at that point, either you're going to be making it into EUL or you're going to be playing against the number 9 team, which we will be finding out who that is on Monday. But if you're going to be ending up in the 2nd place, you might be going up against Penta in the semi-finals, and that is not really a sight many would like to see right now.
Making sure there's no one to apply the pinch on the opposite side. As I said before, we haven't really seen a huge amount of a roam game, but careful is as careful does, and careful is making sure Armory is entirely vacant and the adjoining corridor, so they don't swing into you as they hear the swing come through. Pulls themselves back and tries to stick in, so they have a bit of a crossfire here across the bedroom, and walk-in becomes more feasible and accessible to get the crack down. Deepek is on a bit of a roam and potentially going to try and find trouble here instantly against that roam cover and clear. Smash is going to set themselves up probably with an air jab on this corner and make sure they just can't swing in consistently, but you expect Winstrike to be able to apply some reverse pressure on them, so there's only so long Deepek can really survive here.
Of course, does have a bit of pressure from Astro near the kitchen, so he has the opportunity to make sure that no one will be walking into the split area. As all ADSs, or no, I mean all flashbangs and an air jab got caught off by the ADSs there, and that means that now they can finally push through. But the C4 from a fight shall be raining in, getting the kill onto Larry, dropping down that diffuser as well. Of course, luckily Smash is still near. He has the opportunity to try and recover that, but still will be losing some time. And you're also losing out on one of your members. And as you right now see Astra and Deepak, they are going on the roam together as an S-charge from below will be hoping to stop Panics from the trick that he wanted to achieve, but he will do it nonetheless.
Yeah, Panics keeps the lockdown in on walk in, and well, with less than a minute to go, Winstrike have to try and recollect that diffuser and recollect some of the solidity around Attic. Obviously, there is still Deepek playing close too, and I believe they've still got their C4 in pocket as well. So, well, you've always got that worry about things being swung over the top. We've already seen some success before, and they're more than happy to try and find success again. Astro is actually going to be the first that leans into the firefight instead of utility. They're going to hit with guns, all of them stacked up in a situation to try and take this as the flat entrance. As soon as the wall was popped, as it just was, they're expecting the swing in and the heads to appear around the corner. We know Winstrike are very adept at cracking skulls from range, and they're going to try and look to battle this back against Kid Storms.
Smoke here will be covering up the Aussie's line of sight, and that means they now need to rely on the other members that are alive. Panics will be able to pick up a kill, so will Deepek, and so will, well, Deepek again. As that is going to be Gamma winning round number 2 quite successfully, I have to say. Not really much pressure coming down. I mean, there was a lot of pressure coming down, but not really opening up the walls that needed to be opened up. You could already see when you saw 2 people down in classroom of the likes of Winstrike, they hoped to be removing Panics there. He was electroclaw tricking, but they failed to do so, and that meant that the last Selma was actually caught off by the electricity there. And that gives us the opportunity to, or Gamma rather, the opportunity to hold them down. It's the only way they can come from is either the game's door and from Attic. So it's only 2 you have to hold down at that point. And so yet again see the Frost make its appearance. And I've had discussions with Dev for like eternity now. I think it's because of the gun that Frost has chosen, because he doesn't agree with the choice. Well, he thinks that a alibi would be better.
Yeah, he does. It came up. It was Navi, I believe, when interviewing Durkee about saves, and saves played the Frost, and they said, saves, can you bring an operator with a shield? So he went, okay, and he locked into the Frost, and they went, why Frost? It's like 1.5. And it's like, yeah, okay, you know, and that's it. It's a good gun, and with the 1.5 it can turn into a great gun. You're looking at the potential of picking angles and picking long distance fights against a team that is very good.
I like that,
with
man.
the guns. Yeah, it's a quick drop off, and well, the second is going to bait some play, but all 3 on the meeting. Go on, just triple down.
I was going to say triple down indeed, like, because often what we see is one will be below that hatch. Now, of course, you're going to be expecting that one to get shot as soon as they're walking off that stage, but probably they're not going to be expecting the second one to be that close to the actual stage. And then you have one right next to the walls, because what you often see is as soon as people walk through the breach, they either walk to the left or to the right to try and find a better place to cover, to try and find a better angle. And if you're going to be able to place a frost mat there, you might just catch them off guard if they're not looking properly. Or at least you're going to be denying them from actually going there without dealing with the utility first. It's a smart one.
Panics are setting themselves up to try and lock down on the meeting hold. Now, obviously, they didn't opt to go downstairs again. They wanted to try and take the third site first because, well, I guess even if the basement's successful, they've still got to come here. So let's see if Winstrike can force their way through, all stacked up on the tower for now, but they're going to try and burn their way through to Attic as we see the Maverick making his way. Leonski with the close corner shotgun. It's not really a fight anyone wants to dip immediately into, and the ADSs are steadily going to get burnt. There's most of it, and he smashes the broken one because otherwise it's just in my way. And now, well, just one left. Leonski is keeping himself clear and up to date.
He's going to be making sure that he will not be blurring any of his vision or block the line of sight of the other ADS, because you got to keep that in mind as well, because the ADS needs to have a line of sight. Might not be working out well as the drones are being tossed into Leonski right here. He's going to be able to pick up one drone after another, but he has to be careful that it's not being chased up with straight away. Here comes a grenade, will be eaten by the ADS as well. Another drone comes in from Smash, but it will not be followed up yet. And look at how many drones he's taken out by now. There's 7 drones taken out from just this one spot that Leonski is playing in, and also 6 throwables have been removed, and he's still playing close with their shotgun. Of course, the pre-fire will be coming in soon, but one will be playing near the kitchen, most likely to cover him up as he gets the shot down onto Exo. That is the start. Goes a little bit more aggressive even with this shotgun now, but has to be careful because Rush, he is patiently waiting to respond.
He doesn't have to swing on it. You know he's tempted. You know he wants to. And the grenade's going to push him. But great take there against the kitchen. Deepek goes down. There's a second Fed to Rush. 2 in a row to put the body balance back. There's a bit of an explosion there as he takes his own shrapnel by the looks of it. But Panics, he's going to try and set himself up to lock this down. There's still a frost mat in play. Innovation is still deep with that 9mm, waiting for someone to approach on the second story and catch them out coming down from T2. But with 20 seconds, we know whatever has to come fast, and that's when mistakes happen, as we've seen before. They are peppering and pre-firing the angles, smoke it out to see if they can get the cover, but it doesn't matter with a gun like that, as he just fires towards the usual angles. They're trying to get the diffuser down. They might not know that it's otherwise just being stuck right now, and finally drops it, but there's big trades, and there's another one. It's now a 2 versus 1. All left to Avish, who's looking to try and find the body that's rolling behind. There it is. An easy pick up. The second, just off to the side, bouncing back and forth behind the barricade. They're going for a big rotate to get a new position through the open, and Avish is going to go for the defuse. He might stick it. If this isn't picked up by Rush, this could be a big misplay and mistake. There's the giveaway. There's the pre-fire. There's the swing, and there's the frost. That is why you bring that 1.59mm. That is a lesson just been taught by Gamma, and that is the second round under Gamma's belt.
Another one coming through as Vite throws out the sheesh. He's letting Dev know. Don't mess with the 9C, or C9, I think it's called. Frost 100% win rate. That is true. Out of the 3 rounds they played Frost, they won all 3 of them. So still going strong. Making sure that Frost might see some more pick rate in the future.
New meta?
New meta? Would be cool. Seeing people stuck with their feet in these mats.
Well, let's hope we find a new meta on the Gamma Laundry and Supply hold. To be honest, Winstrike, what they're doing, as we've seen so far, is they're able to have these quick moments of pulling stuff together. But for me, it seems a little like they underestimate the tenacity of Gamma. Gamma have this horrible habit of they'll be in tough situations and somehow just gun their way out of it. Quite frequently, a little bit of Lady Luck smiling upon the Benelux boys, but at the same time, it's a little bit more than that at points. And I think Winstrike, if they find a little bit more pressure and a couple of those coin flips go their way, as we saw they start to, towards that meeting push, and they got themselves into the 2 versus 1, well then, maybe they'll be able to find more. This was a success story before, but it was bled from the self-blood of Gamma to
I was going to say it was a sacrifice really to the gods, just to give them some extra luck for the coming rounds.
That was it. Maybe that's the flip of the coin, and let's see if Winstrike can kind of push a little bit more of that into their favor. You've got to give credit to Rush, 5-2. He's been very good at picking up these firefights and getting some quick responses and revenge for some of the drops that Gamma have been able to pull, and well, you just kind of got to get behind that a little bit, because we know what Winstrike are capable of.
Know what they're capable of indeed. Winstrike, they are a strong team. As the place in the group currently portrays them to be, they are currently number 1 with a 2-round advantage over Gamma Gaming. So this one will decide who will be ending up on top of the 2 at the end of this stage. It will definitely do that, because if Gamma wins, they will be on top. If Winstrike wins, there's no way Gamma can catch up, because the head-to-head coming into play. So whoever wins this will be winning the group, and that is at stake right here. But I have to say, for these last 3 rounds, I've noticed one thing. Every single Winstrike member attacks from the same direction. There is no one, like, rogue player going on from the other side, trying to pick off people from the back. It's always everybody on that one breach, onto that one point. And maybe if you're lucky, 2 points, but they're still in the same direction. And so far, I think this is why Gamma is putting up these kind of setups, like you just saw on the stage. Like all the frost mats out there, the shield facing that stage, but not really putting any utility down in the kitchen, for example. And why they're having this clash right now, holding off to blue as well. Because they know from all these Vault reviews that Winstrike like to play it like they currently do.
That's it. As Dev said on the desk, they've done their research and had plenty to have a look at and get done. Sternab was keeping a keen eye on all he needed to give the Gamma a bit of a heads up here. And, well, it's worked so far, but look at this, as you said. They obviously do have some extension. They're more than aware that every team at this level knows how to adapt, change, and overcome. So they have some, but all the guns, all the bodies are pointed towards this side, and all of them are currently pointed the right way. Smash could go for something round the back of Freezer. They're still in meeting and have the option, but they need to keep control of the hatch for now. They're forced further and further back, and Deepak and Leonsky both suffer. And that is a big instant blow, but Astro at least gets one back. Leonsky's down and amongst, and well, they're trying to collapse in, but, well, there's another sacrifice. Leonsky's off, they've got everything reinforced, and it puts them into a 4 versus 3. However, the amount of ground they have lost, well, that could be changed by this.
One grenade being tossed and getting it down onto Leonsky and blowing up the shield, which eventually burned Deepak to death as well. Had a huge impact, and it might have stayed a bit too long as Flarezo now walks in. Will be taking down the fight, who managed to make himself a way up the hatch and tried to hold on from there on. It looks like downstairs might be where Winstrike is currently at its top form as to take down yet another player, and again it's only up to Astro now. He picks up one to start things off, but he has to flake on yet another one as Astro is going to be able to go into the gunfight onto Flarezo. Wins that one out, but the diffuser gone down. 45 seconds and a 1v2 to clutch out. We saw it happen by Avich the last round. Will Astro be able to do the same right now? He's going to be trying to go for the player in elbow, but realizes soon no one will be left there. And has the opportunity to go for a quick defuse, but as the last player was rotating upstairs, died by Rush's hands. And Winstrike pick up that round and draw things up. It's 2-2.
Very good play there from Winstrike. They got all the awareness about the man on the hatch. They knew what they needed to take control of. It was consistent, aggressive, as they've generally been, but as we saw and cited, they had a lot more success this time. Their attack downstairs seems to be very, very well formulated, and Gamma's unfortunately is a little bit thin. 2-2 is where we balance back into, and obviously now it's the first time to see if Winstrike can continue a bit of a growth here. They've had some momentum. We know, as we said, the power, pace and pressure they can apply to a defense, and this is a perfect place to do it. It started with a bit of a mistake that led from a C4. When I say a mistake, it was kind of in their books, because we know the awareness that they usually have of utility and drones and the positioning of their opponents. Gamma were able to catch one out, as they seem to do a couple of times throughout this, and then from then on, unfortunately, things started to fall apart.
Alright. Not going to throw the other two alrights in. There's Gamma setting up on the top floor again. Deepak running below, looking where he can be hiding his Valkyrie cams. I'll be barricading off onto the actual meeting hall. Not sure exactly as of why. Rotation been made. As we see as... Alright. Seems like we might see Deepak play inside of meeting as the stage gets reinforced as well. Thus he might be playing here to try and stall out as much time as he possibly can, or to try and make sure that Winstrike is not going to be able to take the meeting for free. Maybe lose a couple of members on the way out. As Flarezo definitely knows that Astro was moving the way he did.
Well, Astro's still playing off and away from the site, and as he said, the drones, they're probably a bit aware. And obviously, we've seen a consistent pickup of the Nomad to try and offer some control, but we haven't really seen it fully utilized. They've instead just picked them up by gunning them down, and they found out where they were via the drone game and gone from there. So here, I guess you're in a situation now where I think Gamma have a little bit of confidence on the roam, and that could be punished by a couple of those positions by those air jabs. Smash hasn't, again, had the biggest impact, but that doesn't mean an impact isn't possible. Maybe they just needed Gamma to have this confidence to then make them suffer. Deepek applying the pressure inside meeting and waiting for this. There is still the double bodies here on the tower approaching steadily across. As we recall, the first body off was Maverick. You're thinking of the loss of 2 grenades, you're thinking of the situation there, and you're thinking of Goyo playing pretty dangerously behind a shield. The burn of the ADS come. I don't think they'll have enough to get through it entirely. No, they just do.
Second time they used the air jab to get rid of these last ADS so they could use that grenade on Larry. I think it's a smart play. Of course, you're losing a little bit of your flank watch, but if you're not really using your air jabs anyway, you see one deployed right there on the door actually, so a stairs push will be pretty much impossible. You still have your gun to hold the flank, and that's exactly what Smash is doing right now. Just making sure that Astro is not going to be able to be as impactful as he might want to. As again, you see the same opening from the S-Charge coming out. The question, however, this time is he going to be able to get the kill onto Panics? As the next Electric Claw has been deployed and will be removing the Selma.
Well, Exo is concerned about someone looping round, but it's actually the first kill that goes the way of Leroy, and there's Leonsky to battle back with the big Alder and make sure no one gets any further into Attic. They've started to lose it, but they can dig down with the angles they have. Astro is dancing on a dangerous pixel here and finds it, Rush. Loses their head, and the pings are consistent on the body in Attic, so Astro's going to see if he can find a second. Almost gets caught himself for the trouble, but is still able to cause some trouble of his own on that Dorm's doorway. Now, with steady Selmas cracking their way through, they're concerned about the pop-up here of Panics, who can do big things. Look at the 3 stacked there, 1 on the window, 1 getting himself in to double up on this push and pick up the trade, and this is going to be a dance at the same time.
They don't seem to know. Like, for multiple times they spotted out his hand right now, but it's not really seeming concerned by him stepping up right here, as Panic's still laying prone. He's not being picked. He won't be able to get the kill. This defuse drop swings around. He's not going to be able to get the kill on Smash, though, who walks into the Dorm's main hall. 5 seconds left, however, they now need to go for a plan, but they're still worried about a potential C4 to come in. Is Leonsky with a double kill to close it off, and Gamma put it up to 3. And they have the opportunity to close it out to 4-2, as probably they will be going back to the stage again to place those frost mats to continue that 100% win rate they're so happy about.
Hey, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't change it. And I guess in the case of their basement hold, it was broken, they didn't change it. So they stick to their guns, Gamma, and they're actually going to head back down to the basement. Clash on the board. They've got the same setup that they had before. They're going to try it one last time and go for one last victory. I guess for a lot of people, it can be more consistent. As we saw before, it came down to a clutch was the reason they got the lock-off before. Nomad to a Nomad, Smash by Ash knows what they want to do. It's control those range and control that tempo, but as I said, Winstrike at their best have been on this site. They've been able to pick apart what Gamma have tried to do for the first time. We've seen on the 3 runs, this is a fresh take from Gamma with a little bit of adaptation, and I'm curious to see if they find a little bit more success with it.
Again, the last time around, this round was lost on the back of just staying too long, because all the ADSs were wasted and they still stuck there behind that Goyo shield. Now, that blew up, it killed Leonsky, it killed Deepek on that smoke, and you lose 2 players suddenly. So they gotta make sure that as soon as those ADSs are wasted, you move and you no longer stay there. Of course, they do not have the Clash this time. They will be running with a Melusi just to try and slow them down instead. Have to be careful though, because it might be easily taken down if you place it that close to the door. But yeah, Gamma, they're changing it up a bit. No Clash this time. They're choosing to bring an extra gun as they bring the Kaid on Leonsky instead.
I believe they've also opted to change the shield that was an elbow. I think before it was a Goyo and now it's just a standard shield. A normal one. So they're, again, looking for adaptation to dig this in and make it a bit more safe for Deepek to stay there for as long as possible. It's going to force swing. Oh no, that's going to force a problem. Rush swings instantly on and they're going to try and find the pickup. Goes on the drone and there's a catch, and there's an unfortunate moment. Would have seen a split second of Jaeger before his death, but you look at who's off the board. Rush consistently has been one of the best stars for Winstrike's attack right now, and they're really going to have to reconvene and set themselves up for this.
Of course, there was a Vige that got taken out as well. The man that managed to get the clutch down. He also potentially had a C4 that he is no longer able to use right now. And as there is no ADSs near this pillar, Astor has to be careful with his current playing position because just a single Ash charge could ruin his dreams, as they could blow up the Goyo shield that's right next to him and yet again fry one of the Gamma members, as happens so often, so frequently. But look at it. Again, 2 members right here, Winstrike, ready in blue. We have 1 above the hatch. They might be rotating down the stairs, or they will be coming up towards the blue side as well. Small flashbangs keep on getting tossed in. A smoke will be tossed in finally to try and respond, and Deepak wants to play close, as they're also using Selmas to waste these ADSs. So keep in mind, they're being really creative with their utility right here, just to make sure that they can get these grenades in. Another Selma just tossed in from the likes of Flarezo. And it shows you how much value they actually, give to those Selmas, because they don't want to use it to open up these walls. No, they want to use it to make sure that they can get these kills in. However, unfortunately, Deepak is able to rotate out, close up the rotation, and I'm not sure if they have any Selmas left, however, to work with now.
Yeah, it's going to force them to have to play this with Guns and Maverick. Maverick is very capable, and he's going to start trying to make his way, potentially to apply some pressure here and get a bit of a pinch. We've seen them have the angles on that side before. The frag grenades are going to pop out first and try and catch Nomad. Watching with eagle eyes from above, but look at Gamma. They're pulling back, and they're just kind of saying, okay, you've taken this ground, and they're forcing time against Winstrike, which is coming down to this utility burn. It's going right over the head of Panics, who's going to pop up and play pop-up Pirates with the header. Leroy drops him. That's another one off the board, but an instant pick up and a trade. Smash swings on and gets 1 more. 20 seconds. Diffuser is back in the hands, but the final canister is going to pop on the door and just buy them a few more precious seconds. Now they are waiting patiently, but not with bated breath to get it down. There's the cover, there's the Maverick hole, there's some damage, there's the C4, there is a missed throw, but with only 7 seconds, if they don't land it now, they won't land it at all. So Pillars is dropped very quickly, but there's the swing, there's the trade, and there's Gamma's round.
Very well played. Good adaptation to coming right here from Gamma. Rotating out as soon as the grenades are coming in. Unfortunately for Leonski, the C4 wasn't able to hit, but he managed to make up for it just swinging with the AUG, whilst his teammate Astro was busy with the gunfight on Pillar. That meant that rotation, or the line of sight that was created with the Maverick, was not being watched. It allowed him to move in and pick up on that double and secure that 4-2. Gamma are in the lead, and they're going over to the attack right now.
4-2 isn't the most uncommon split on this map, and Winstrike have been very close to taking a couple of rounds. It has come down to these final 20-second pushes. As we've seen so far, Winstrike have been creative with their use of their utility, and I'm curious to see if the creativity is stretched onto their defenses. It's something where, obviously now, a team that is built around this structure, this idea of utility economy and how they balance things is usually best on their defense. They're on a defender-sided or sighted map here. They're in a situation where Winstrike can very easily pull this back. So for me, it's going to have to be up to Gamma to step up if they want to try and lock this off, because Winstrike are more than capable of being able to throw some of this rounds into their favor.
All right. I'm still really I'm just thinking back about the way that they clear out these ADSs, right? Because they bring the Selmas and they bring the air jabs to try and clear it out. And you have 3 Selmas, you have 3 air jabs, but you also have like flashbangs on Nomad, and you also have 2 smokes. So you have like 6 throwables you can use on Nomad to try and clear out ADSs. That is basically every single thing, which means that you do no longer have to use flashbangs on every single operator to try and clear it out. Then you can get your grenades in quicker as well. The same goes for the Ace, of course, who will just leave only 1 spot open with the 5 throwables he has. So it's an interesting way to think about it, to might implement into more play as well, because often we see people talking about how, you know, the ADSs are hard to be wasted, but if you use the air jabs as well, on a map where basically only 1 flank is possible, then that might be a really smart adaptation here from Winstrike. I really have to give credit to.
And you know it must be good if you're giving credit to someone against Gamma Gaming. Winstrike setting themselves up now to try and hold Innovation, wasting no time, creeping all the way in. The crouch walking Ash has got far, but the Valcam's going to mean they don't get any further. They've given some of the game away, and they're just going to ping and pepper where some of the possibility of stopping them is coming from. Want to impact trick and want to hit it, and they're concerned about someone hitting Classroom, so instead they're just going to hand the territory off? No, they're still within range to drop it, and the explosion did not actually get rid of the jammer, I believe. So they're going to have to reconvene, take a shoulder of damage from a very attentive Rush. He's making sure they can stop anyone to go in. As I said before, they were really the tour de force of the team in the previous round. Ooh, just catch all of them there.
Yes, indeed, one got caught. Probably got shot out as it was like one only going off. So I think they shot it out just to make sure it doesn't become an angle that they really don't want to deal with. Instead, they're using Leonski now with the Maverick to try and open up. And I assume that they still have an Impact or an Ash Charge left to try and use to make sure they open up the right and correct way. Panix is the only one here in Attic, has a flank drone available to him. Most likely as soon as one member of Gamma will die, that will be the priority, as of course Panix will have to move in a very peculiar spot. Talking about a flank, let's look at Smash. He's running away, he's going for it, he's looking to make a play happen. Not quite sure what he's going to do. It seems like he might be going over to the small tower because Deepak is playing on this window. Going for a bit of a jump out there as Flares picks up the first kill into a fight just to start things off.
Well, this could be big if this pop out on the side is uncontested. Smash is waiting with a pre-press window and heads out, doesn't see anything, but, well, Deepak doesn't hear anything either. Quick pick up from Smash puts them into a 5-2 as Rush gets one more. Astro is stopped, and look at that. Winstrike struck well and took themselves a very clean and quick round.
Very good round coming in indeed. Nothing Gamma could do from here on as they tried to open up at first, but basically Alex Cars got wasted by the Sophia impacts. So they basically impact tricked for Winstrike. And it basically left them with little to no option. They then needed to use the Maverick to open up, needed to use an extra an extra breaching round to open up as well. And that left them vulnerable. What I would like to see, though, if they go back to that side, is bring something for flank watch, because you got to make sure that a Valkyrie like that is not going to be allowed to just jump out on you and take you down. Of course, the round was already a bit more far gone at the moment that happened, but that could be the start of things as well, and that's something you have to keep in mind.
4-3, the gap is shorter, and probably with that rate has the potential to be shorter still. Down to the basement, a site that generally favors Winstrike so far, and I'm curious to see what the push here from Gamma is, because you should expect them to have some research done into how Winstrike like to hold their sites, and with how things went at the last one, well, maybe it was a few gunfights that got away from them either way. It didn't look like they'd been well rehearsed and researched, and I guess Gamma's forte is a little bit of flavor and a little bit of creativity on the positionings and how they can bring some of the stress to it. And here, well, I mean, we didn't really see it on the previous round. So now's the time to try and impress and keep the gap a distance of 2, because if it gets level pegging yet again, we could find Winstrike getting more and more wins under their belt and in their repertoire. Pace is the MO here, and blue seems to be the angle.
Keep in mind, these teams are pretty much equal currently on the leaderboard. The only difference is that Winstrike has a +3 round differential overall. So even if they would draw here today, Winstrike would still be on top, and it would literally come down to the last Playday until we would find out where these teams would end. If they both would win, Gamma would need 3 extra rounds compared to Winstrike to get that win. And Winstrike, all they just have to do is just win with a 7-4.
Keeping their eyes in a tent. Look at this. If we talked about Gamma paying attention to the blue push, this is all of Winstrike dedicated. Yes, okay, they have stuff on the backside, as I said before. They will have barbed wire, they'll have intel, and they'll have eyes. But this is guns. This is a gun game between 2 very good gun skill teams, and everyone is angling to have the battle over bunker right now. Drones steadily leaning through, and with only 1:45 left before the start of the push, Flarezo is going to be the first to suffer some consequence. All the flashes go through, they made sure there's no burn, and they're going to try and look to grenade over the top, but look at Exo on the far side. He wants to swing aggro. He's going to make sure if anyone gets a little bit too bold, they cannot get the frag grenades that they need to in. The smoke pops as the pressure tries to come from the back. Another balanced game of utility is the MO here for Winstrike, and Flarezo wants to get a little bit dicey and peppery on the door. There is an ADS just behind them on the shoulder too. That could catch an astray frag grenade that rolls a bit too far. The explosions are teetering across the door now, as we get ever closer to a confrontation. The first grenade pops, doesn't quite get them. The second one rotates straight past, and Flarezo is now in a little bit of a tight spot with Deepek, finding himself isolated and cut off.
Banshee will be taken care of. Also one close near Harry Potter. However, Exo is able to pick up the kill onto Panics. That is going to be the opening, and Leonski wants to try and reply, but well, they have to be careful. Deepak, of course, playing near, might have an opportunity to try and put up some shots as Leonski gets on being pinged out, and with the whoop whoop that is right next to him, the Banshee that he will now try and knife, but he has to stand up to do so. Will be taken out in the process as Axel realized exactly what was going on. Leaves Gamma in a 2v5 situation, which will be a very hard one to clutch, especially with a pre-fire like that, as Flarezo will be able to pick up the kill onto Deepak. C4 now will be coming in, will no deal a single point of damage onto a Fige. Still playing on the top of these stairs. Doing a little bit of damage, but not enough to get a kill down quite yet. Gets it down, but with 13 seconds left, surely will not find much more than that. As the impact's now being tossed in, a pre-fire will land, gets a kill for his efforts, but Exo closes it off with a huge round of him. Managed to pick up 3 kills in total, I believe.
Now, as I said before, when we see Winstrike on their defense is when we're going to see Winstrike properly. And look at these past 2 rounds, my word. Out of all the rounds that Gamma took, I don't think they ever had as much control or dominance as we've just seen in these past 2 from these defenses. Everything seems to be feeding into what they want. Winstrike have the lockdown, have the cover, and the care to pay attention to all of it. They're winning these first engagements too frequently. They're able to swing on and against the players of Gamma and get the first or the second frag, and it's leaving Gamma in these situations where they're a little bit isolated and cut off. There seems to be this consistent lack of the same solid communication and balance and level in the defense of Winstrike to the attack of Gamma. We saw the pace applied from Deepak to get across the gorge and get into a situation here, but without any of the real support and with things starting to fall apart around them, all it left them was isolated from the rest of the team. No real way to start to restructure. They just kind of had to dig in, and well, the swing is going to come from the left or the right, so at that point it's just a 50-50 on whether you're looking the right way.
You know, I said before the match started how you cannot only differentiate yourself on your defense, you also need to show your attack is good. Well, Winstrike, their defense so far seems phenomenal. Something that Gamma is not able to push through as of yet. And that shows you that if your defense is flawless, you're also going to be able to pick up a win. But of course, they need to find 4 more rounds before they can celebrate. 2 actually, I've been lying. 2 rounds in these 4 rounds to come up to celebrate.
Counting is hard.
It is. Very hard.
Let's see what the third site is like for Winstrike. And to be honest, with the confidence that I've seen in their defenses from the last 2, I kind of expect this to go their way as well. They have seemed unshakable on first glances at their defenses. And I guess when you play a map a lot, you really get it battle tested. And this is what I've said about this region. The Russian region is so good at developing solidity. They will run a defense, they will run an attack, they'll run a structure and make sure that it's watertight. And they won't really worry about when things go too wrong. They'll go, okay, well, this is where, you know, it's a little change, it's a little pickup, a little adaptation. Okay, now we're stronger. And then if that gets beaten, another little adaptation. They build upon solidity. And because of that, they have this concurrent course of locked-in solidity. They know when they need to change and when they need to adapt. And, well, so far, they seem to know their Oregon very, very well. Exo's on the roam on the far side. Otherwise, the remaining 4 bodies are locked in with the angle from White Stairs covered as well. They need to make sure showers stay under their control. Deepek. Well, this could be a pop through a door in a second.
It definitely seems to be, as there comes the ping soon from one of his teammates. No, he's not going to be able to land the kill. Jaeger long gone. Exo went back up the stairs, and now they're not going to be able to find out where he will go. They will have to try and drone him out actively, but instead Deepek chooses to go towards the actual site, spot out where Flarezo is right now with his drone that is hidden in the corner. Underneath the White Stairs corridor, Panics will get the opening kill. Deepek, however, will be taken down by Exo. Astro will decide to try and go aggressive as he pushes up close, but the shotgun will be there of Larry to respond to him, and yet again another member of Gamma will fall. The man advantage will be here for Winstrike. This is the advantage they are looking for, and as Leonski is trying to push through, it's probably going to be rotating all the way upstairs to get a vertical angle on one of these players. As Panics is hunting for the one member of Exo that managed to take down Deepek as he hoped to enter the building.
Well, Maestro's so close to death, but that operator can still do so much, as we see. Avaish gets taken care of, and Panics is trying to apply the pressure from the backside and act as a little bit of surprise, but there is the Warrior the Roam that's still going on. There is a man just on the corner of the stairs, and there is a Wub that's going to give him away. There is a swing and a canister, and Leroy almost goes down, a C4 even, not the canister, as it was the mute, not the Ash, but Leonsky at least finds someone else on the board, swings either way, and doesn't get the shots on the man on the top of the stairs, so it goes Winstrike's way. If I was to highlight something that seems to be slipping away from Gamma, for me, it's the lack of trades they're really setting themselves up for, because Winstrike are built upon it on their defenses. There's almost always another gun, whereas Gamma, they're frequently getting into these one-on-one engagements, and there's nobody to try and double down on them.
It seems to be the case indeed. Deepak, for example, picked up after Exo managed to glimpse away from him. At that moment in time, you see him coming close. Just ask one of your teammates to quickly go on your drone, use that ping 2.0 and take him down as a result, because now it came back to haunt you. And then you have Avaish who tried to go in and take down a Maestro, just took down one of his players, wasn't going to be able to land the kill, managed to take him down to about 1 HP, but it happens every single time. And if you have, for example, the aggressive push we saw towards the hands of the shotgun or flare zone, make sure someone is there to back it up, because a shotgun can only shoot as fast as a couple rounds per minute. So you don't really want to, you don't really want to give him time to repump and be ready for the next one. So just use 2 people in that situation.
So the start of the downfall happened on this top floor, and has steadily just handed this game further and further into Winstrike's books again. We've seen them have very adept defenses. As I just cited before, they're set up for trades, and consistently their consistency seems to be locked in against Gamma, who cannot really find any purchase. They're looking for 1-versus-1 engagements. We saw an isolated Zafir, obviously out on double window, get entirely picked up. We saw a death around Attic too. It just seems like they haven't really got themselves as a group push, which, if you look at Winstrike, on both their defenses and their attacks, where they would stack up as an entire unit and force and try and meet you head on, it's just working so well for them on their defense.
That drone was a bit more of a struggle to exit than Deepak was. So he manages to finally pick it up, make quicker work out of Deepak. However, as we are now completing, of course, that rotation, going back upstairs, Gamma will have to try and this time get this attack going. The question is, how do we stop the impact trick that Rush wants to play? There's multiple ways. Either you just ignore it, or you play a Maverick there. You try and use that to open up the wall, and or maybe even get lines of sight onto Rush that you can use to try and pre-fire him, as there's only so much he can do laying prone onto that couch. There's not much movement speed he has. As Avaish, again, on the drone, will be spotting out Exo most likely at the top of those stairs. There he is, will be spotted out. Drone, however, will be taken out, and that means Exo is on the run again, going for a big flank. And well, the question is, where will he go? Is he going back to freeze, or is he going to the back of the stairs? There's 2 options he can go for. As the Selma's now going off, will be tricked. Only 1 impact left for Rush to use right here. Will be able to land it. Grenade coming in. Will not be able to land instead. And that means there's 1 Selma left that will detonate now. So they will still have their opening. The question is, will it be enough?
Well, Smash is still moving around behind and could strike the team on tower very soon if they're not paying enough attention. Panics is the one that's trying to put damage through, but with Exo there too, this is again a situation where they might be able to double down. The gun across the top is a standard. The C4 underneath could be deadly, and then there's always Exo, who is just deadly in and any day. This is potentially the moment that starts to pull things apart, and it does. Panic's blown back into the tower. Get out of the attic. That is our territory. And now, well, it's a little bit on the back foot. Leonsky wants to apply pressure here onto the top of attic to force Leroy into a less comfortable situation. The ADS is burnt behind him and they don't quite catch him, but they still have no ground, no territory, and the smoke canister is only going to tick steadily away. The concern is if the swing in, and Deepak's going to be the one that tries to apply the pressure on the backside, the double window. There's nobody to jump out on him as of yet, but with only 25 seconds, whatever he's going to do, he's got to do it fast. It needs to alleviate some of the stress, and that's the worst possible way. As Astro's alleviated from his body, Leroy finds the kill immediately from the Maverick hold that was burnt previously. 10 seconds, and another body of Gamma hits the floor, and then another one doesn't even get into the floor as we find ourselves only left with Deepek on the double window. 4 seconds, and exit frags are all you've got against a Winstrike that puts themselves onto map point with a flawless.
There we have it, a flawless round of Winstrike is got to be coming in, and that means match point, as you just said, draws the best results that Gamma can fight for now. The question is, are they going to be able to put it up? Are they going to be able to show that they are indeed just as good as the Russian team right here today? Because the Russians, they have been absolutely flawless onto their defense, and now the secret weapon seems to be being brought out. A Vige on the Monty. It's not really working out for them. They need to change something up. We are downstairs. Well, bring the shield. That is the reply that Gamma has for Winstrike here. But will it be enough? Because there is a smoke. There is a Goya with some shields that, you know, explode up into magical flames. And there is a Maestro Chem that could just zap you in the back if you turn your back to him. And besides that, you also have C4s available on some of these operators.
Yeah, I think Winstrike, they're making defense look easy right now. And obviously it's across the board too. Okay, Rush is sitting pretty with 11-6, but he was their tour de force on their attacks. And for me was some of the drive behind the 2 rounds that they took. But again, after that, what we're seeing from Winstrike on their defenses is such a perfect synergy of who needs to be where, what, and why. And at the same time, we can see them actively reacting as a team to whatever Gamma's doing. Something we haven't really seen too spot on from the guns of Gamma. They've been a little bit more haphazard, and yeah, sure, it's different playstyles, different creativity and energies you apply, but the first time they go for this big adaptation is to bring on the shield. I really want to see a big step up here, because it's gonna have to be to catch up with the Rocket of Winstrike.
There he moves. Vach on the shield. It's gonna be staying extended just in case someone spawn peeks. It's always unlucky when you start running towards the door, someone runs out and takes out your head before you could even extend. And Smash will instantly be forced back downstairs. He's having none of that. Just making sure that no one will be on the roam, no one will be coming in the back, as he will be pushing down onto the back stairs now. Has to be careful, of course, of potential C4s and smoke canisters. But so far, he managed to get rid of Smash.
And now he's just going to hold in, act as a bit of a bastion. There's potentially going to be a swinging over the side of Panics or Astro, but they also have the ability to stack up on the hatch, which seems to be the MO for now. If they can force someone to an uncomfortable situation right across the guns and sight line of Monty, well, he's baiting, or trying to bait some of the play here. Dangerous game of Ice. We've seen shields cost teams in NA quite frequently and quite recently in a certain TSM showdown, so let's not play the most dangerous game when you're on match point. The C4 swings over the top and catches Leonsky. Gone is the Habana, and gone is the diffuser carrier for now. Cold on the stage, but not the way Gamma wanted to begin.
Really good knowledge coming out right here from Winstrike, knowing exactly where these players are of Gamma every single time. Able to toss in these C4s with guaranteed kill succession. As right now, Vige will be hoping to push into elbow to try and find a response, because they are a men down and need to find a response and a way somehow to bring it back to even men count. As Vige starts baiting out these smoke canisters. There's one down, still some more to go. As a pillar player gets spotted out. There's just too many spots right now for Vige to actually try and move in. No Exo getting tagged up. There comes the grenade. The down comes through. He will be down, but not out. Shortly groping into the gun side of Deepek. There we have it. And that is the equalizer we have been looking for, as right now Gamma have the opportunity to push through.
Well, Monty's going to try and charge down long and see if they can get the lockdown, but the camera is going to pop almost all of his health there, caught out by this on the back, and they might not know just how low that Monty is, but he's very close to going. The pressure's going to come hot and heavy very quickly. There's a C4 that pops over towards the default plant. Doesn't catch anybody, but Astro's isolated a little. Gets the swing onto one and waits for the pickup, but doesn't know about the man on elbow who shows up and shows force. It's a drop from either side. Now it's a 3 versus 1. Deepek It is all down to you. You have to push through a lot of utility, and, well, he finds one, but with only 5 seconds to look for another two. They've got either eyes, either angle, and unfortunately they've got the final round. Winstrike, I think it summed up best. The clutches that were had against you on your attacks, they were pretty exciting. But your defenses for you were another day at the office, and it showed with the coordinated control you locked down over a slightly shaky Gamma Gaming.
And this is why you do not bring them to Oregon, because even if they do not, stand aside with their attacks, if they're not going to be able to get in 3 or more rounds, and suddenly they come up to the defense where they have been absolutely flawless. 5 rounds in a row they managed to pick up here, and they have won Group A. So they will be #1 seed coming in. That one is confirmed, but let's toss it over to the analysts to talk more about the strategies that Winstrike brought to the table.
Shall we talk more then, Geo, Dev, or